If you've ever talked to a woman who recently delivered, she'll tell you things such as labor feels like the worst cramp of your life. It felt like being run over by a truck. Somebody even said to me that it felt like food poisoning, but worse. Does all this sound familiar?
How far apart are the contractions?
That's what it sounds like for everyone. Everyone goes through this.
Hi, Mom. My name is Adetitu. I am a board-certified women's health nurse practitioner. And today we are going to talk about non-medical ways to help you with labor pains. Because yes, it is possible for you to do this. Many have done this, and so will you. I am also a mother of two, so I've done this as well. So I can tell you through medical terms and through lived experiences as well. Let's get into it. So contractions actually feel different for everyone. Here is the big one that a lot of women agree on. It's a wave pattern, okay? And this is true with contractions. Contractions do not stay at one pain level, okay? So it's usually a wave. It goes up, it peaks, and then it goes back down, right? And that's why when you're timing your contractions, you're timing it between when that pain starts to when it stops, and then the next one, okay? So that is the good news with contractions. So what we're going to talk about is how to cope when that peak happens, all right? Because that peak does not last. You have the opportunity to learn coping skills for that peak, right? Each contraction gives you the time to breathe and to recuperate. You will always get a relief. And if you understand that there is a relief and you're prepared for that, this is going to set you up for how to handle the peak of the contractions. So before we dive into the specific techniques that can help you with coping with that peak of contractions, let's talk about how to set you up for success for natural pain management. So first is the birthing environment. It's very important for your birthing environment to actually invite peace and calmness and order. So the ideal space should be quiet, it should be comfortable, and it should have privacy, okay? And it should also have room for you to move around, access to water, access for you to be able to go from rest to movement if you need be. So I want you to think dim lighting, your favorite music, your favorite person, or people if you're able to handle more than one birthing partner. And that leads me to your support team. So that can, of course, be your partner, anyone in your family members, doula, even your medical team on that day, such as your nurse. Those are very important. Quality support of your support team actually makes a huge difference, okay? Now, there are so many researchers out there, but doulas have been known to decrease rates of C-section and even epidurals by a really high percentage, all right? And study actually shows that partners who are trained in pain management techniques, it actually helps to reduce the overall pain intensity and the unpleasantness of labor. So it's so important for your partner to also be on board with how to help you cope during the peaks of these contractions. And then the third one is your mindset. Oof, your mindset. Now, we know that we can do anything. You can do all things through Christ who gives you strength. And if you really truly do believe that in your mind that you can do this, you know you can do this. So it starts in the mind. If you believe you can't do this, you're not going to do this. And if you believe that you can do this, you absolutely will do this, okay? And the way for you to start preparing your mindset is truly, I do need you to do as much research as you can. I need you to do as much research as you can. You don't want to go into labor not being aware. The more aware you are, the more you're like, you know what? I know what to expect, and I am going to prepare for it, and I can do this. When you prepare your mind, you are not surprised that day. Mental preparation is just as important as physical preparation because truthfully, you really can do this. You can do this. Your body was made to do this. And if you believe that, you absolutely will. Now let's get into the practical stuff. Techniques that actually work. So walking, swaying, laboring on a birthing ball, moving frequently. Why are these effective? So research actually shows that laboring in an upright position actually decreases the chances of having assisted deliveries, right? Than when you are laying down. Now, I did not care to labor on my back. It was actually much more painful for me to be able to cope because I felt the pain more. because I was so stagnant, right? Because I was just on the bed and I just felt like I felt the pain more. But when I was moving around, the movement, it just helped me, the swaying, it helped me able to kind of internalize the pain. So when the peak came, I stopped. I would stop, right? And then when the peak left, I walked again. I walked again. It just kind of really did a good job in helping my mind know that, oh, you're only in pain for a short period of time. I felt like when I was lying down, it was so much more difficult. And it felt like the peaks lasted a long time and I wasn't getting a break. So try this. Walking around. And if you feel like the pain is too much for you and you can't walk around, then birthing ball. Okay. Sit on the birthing ball. Birthing balls with that swaying, that can really help you also keep your mind on something else. Now, the biggest thing with labor is you want to try to put your attention to something else other than the pain as much as you can. So you're going to be doing a whole lot of techniques during labor. You're going to be using visual assistance. You're going to be using auditory, touch, so many things to really distract you at the peak of these contractions, okay? And then also it goes without mentioning, what works for one mom is going to be completely different from what works for another mom. You really just need to find what technique really works for you. And it's going to take you trying different techniques, especially in the beginning stages of your labor when the peaks are not as intense. And next are breathing techniques. So breathing techniques, one, just as we just talked about, gives you something to focus on. And also when you exhale during the time where you're having tension, it actually helps to release some pain, okay? So I'm going to show you an example of how you should be breathing, all right? So what you're going to do is you are going to inhale 4 counts and then exhale 6 counts, okay? So we're going to practice. And also another thing with breathing techniques is you want to start practicing this early on. Start practicing this before labor happens. Literally, you see that pregnancy test, you're like, let's start practicing. Just breathing, because also it helps to cope with stress, right? So we're going to do this together. So, okay, again. Okay. Now that takes practice, right? And you can see how when you are focused even on breathing, it takes the attention away from the pain. And I know a lot of these techniques, you're like, these seems like too easy to be effective. Trust me, the mind is a powerful place. These things really are effective. A lot of moms will say the breathing classes that they took or the setting that they had was so important and actually contributed to how well they did during labor. The third one is water therapy. So water, we know water is soothing. Even when we're not pregnant, we like to take a shower to relax us, right? And the same actually is true for labor. So water actually helps to decrease that muscle tension and it helps with the back pain as well. Now, water therapy such as having a water birth or even just taking a shower or even just like putting like water on your skin, right? So, a study actually shows that women who had some sort of water therapy experience a better coping skills with their labor pains, and they actually say that they had better satisfaction overall with their labor. So, even if you can't have a water birth, simply taking a shower or even like sitting in a bath for just a little bit can be just as effective. The fourth one is actually counter pressure and massage. So counter pressure is actually putting pressure on around that area where you're feeling that contraction. So it's probably usually your lower back or your pelvic area. So counter pressure actually sends a positive signal to your nervous system, to the brain, to just close that pain gate, okay? So when you do that, you are going to feel some sort of relief from that pain. A doula can do this. Doulas are actually well trained in counter pressures, and you can train your partner as well. You can show your partner how to do this. You point to the area where you are feeling that pressure is usually the back, right? And then they that pressure, and that usually sends a signal to your brain to give you some sort of release. And then, of course, gentle massages for sure. You can add this with music to kind of just set the tone. It could be massaging of your feet, just massaging of that area. Not exactly like counter pressure, but like just massaging, just gentle massages, okay? Now, again, what works for you is going to take some trial and error. You just want to know what your options are. And next are TENS units. So TENS units is actually a small device that you attach to your back. And what it does is it sends gentle electrical pulses through electrodes, okay? So these pulses actually interrupt pain signals traveling through your brain. It feels like buzzing feeling. It feels like a tingling sensation. So research shows that TENS units are actually more effective when you start them during early labor. It's less effective when you started them later because, again, that mind to body connection. So you want to make sure that you start it during early labor. So next are heat and cold therapy. Now, whichever one you choose depends on your preference. Both can work equally. Now, how heat works is heat can actually relax tight muscles, and then it can promote pain relief that way. All right. And then with cold packs, it can help to actually numb pain and reduce inflammation. You want to apply it at the start of each contraction, though. Okay. Research shows that it is actually more effective. The heat and cold therapy are more effective when you apply it at the start of each contraction. So when you're right about to feel that contraction, you put it where you feel that contraction. Now, the areas are usually your lower back or your abdomen. So those type of areas where you feel the contraction the most is where you place this therapy. Okay. The next one is aromatherapy. A certain scents actually promote relaxation, right? Even outside of labor, they promote relaxation. And the number one scent that research continues to show does this is lavender. All right. So lavender has been known to just promote relaxation, makes you feel relaxed. That's why a lot of times, there's lavender in baby lotions to help them relax so that they can go to sleep. So what you can do, mom, is get essential oils lavender for yourself, and whenever that contraction is about to come on, you take a smell of that lavender, you put it behind your ear, you put it in your hand, and then you're sniffling, you're smelling it. Okay, this has been known to actually help decrease the intensity of pain. Now, I know these things, you're like, oh, it's not going to take away the pain. It is not going to take away the pain. What we're trying to focus on is for you, whenever that peak comes, whatever you need to get through each peak, right? That's what you're trying to focus on. So this next peak, what am I going to do? This next peak, this next peak. And then if it gets you through that peak, then it's effective. Okay. And the last one is mindfulness and visualization. Now, again, the mind is a very powerful place. So have a bunch of mantras that you know that will be effective for you. I can do anything for 1 minute, right? This is just another contraction that's going to get me closer to my baby. This is just another peak, another pain that's going to get me closer to my baby. This is going to be worth it. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. A lot of women have done it before me. A lot of women are going to do it after me. I am strong. I am strong. I can do this. My body was made to do this. My body is strong. My body was made to bring this baby safely to me. So many mantras. I want you to actually write up your own mantra. What do you think would be encouraging for you to say or to think about? Write them down. You can have sticky notes and put them in your labor room while you're walking around and laboring and just looking at it. You can put them on your phones, whatever it is, wherever you can visualize it. Or if you just have your partner telling you that, you just have a bunch of positive affirmations that you know that would be effective for you. Because truthfully, you can do this, mom. As I've been mentioning, what works for you can be a combination of a lot of these techniques, okay? So it's just a trial and error. You just have to go through, especially in the beginning stages of your labor, figuring out what works for you. All right. So make sure that you are well informed. You are learning about coping skills. You are doing your breathing. You're informing your partner about how to assist you with this, or your birthing person, like the person who's going to be helping you, such as the doula, right? So you want to make sure that everybody is prepared for labor. Research actually shows when women are not prepared for labor, that is when labor becomes more painful than it should be. Okay. Yes, mom, labor can be intense, but you are very strong and you can do this. And of course, if things don't go as planned, make sure that you're giving yourself grace. A healthy baby and a healthy mom is the most important thing. You got this, mom. I am cheering for you. Coming up next week, we're going to talk about medical options for labor. Again, information is power, so it's important for you to know all of your options and then make the right decision for yourself. Thank you so very much for watching, mom. I will see you next time. Bye.